Let's talk about an object that started out as, just a simple leather bag. But over time, it's turned into something completely different, a full-on financial instrument that, believe it or not, some people say is more stable than the stock market. $10,100,000.
We now come to the star lot of this sale, lot 8, which is the original Birkin, created in 1985 for Jane Birkin. Pour le prototype du sac Birkin, à juger avec vous, Meiko, au téléphone. Merci à tous de vos enchères à 7 millions d'euros. 7 million euros, j'adjuge maintenant, et c'est bien vu, à 7 millions. À juger, on parle de...
Just let that number sink in. In July of 2025, that's what someone paid at a Sotheby's auction for a single handbag, right? Not a mansion, not a fleet of supercars, a handbag. And that really gets us to the big question here. How in the world did a fashion accessory, something you carry your wallet and keys in, become a more reliable and, for a long time, a more profitable investment than actual gold or even the S&P 500? The story is just fascinating.
Hermes Birkin bags are some of the most expensive bags in the world, ranging anywhere from $9,000 to $500,000. The bags embody absolute luxury.
A Birkin bag? You've heard of it? Of course. That's a very nice purse.
Okay, so to be fair, that $10 million price tag, it wasn't for just any Birkin off the shelf. That was for the OG, the prototype, the actual bag that was made for Jane Birkin herself and that she used back in 1984. But don't for a second think this is just a one-off thing. The entire high end of the Birkin world is playing in this arena. I mean, the famous Himalaya Birkin, made from crocodile skin dyed to look like snowy mountains, regularly goes for over $400,000. Or the tiny Faubourg, which looks like the Hermès store in Paris, that's easily $300,000. These aren't outliers anymore. This is just the reality for these super rare pieces. So, how did this whole phenomenon even start? Well, the origin story of the world's most exclusive object is, kind of ironically, not exclusive at all. It was basically a complete accident. The legend goes like this. The actress and style icon Jane Birkin is on a flight, and the contents of her trademark wicker basket just spill everywhere. And who happens to be sitting right next to her? Jean-Louis Dumas, the executive chairman of Hermès. What are the chances? So as she's trying to gather all her stuff, she starts complaining to him that she just can't find a good leather weekend bag that's both practical for a young mom and still looks chic. Now, Dumas didn't, schedule a big marketing meeting or anything. He just grabbed what was available, an air sickness bag, and the two of them sketched out the design for the perfect bag right there on the plane. And boom, in 1984, the first Birkin was made. But here's the twist in the story. The Birkin wasn't an instant success. Nope. For years, it was a pretty quiet seller. It really took a huge cultural moment to push it from just being a nice bag to being this global symbol of status and desire.
It's 4,000.
I know.
And there's a waiting list.
I assumed.
5 years.
For a bag?
It's not a bag. It's a Birkin.
And that moment, it came in 2001 on an episode of Sex and the City. You might remember it, the one where Samantha tries to use a celebrity's name to skip the 5-year waiting list. That one line, "It's not a bag, it's a Birkin," did more to create the bag's mystique than any ad campaign ever could. It really solidified this idea that you don't just buy a Birkin, you have to be worthy of one. And that led to what insiders call the Hermès game. See, there's no official waitlist anymore. To even have a chance, you have to build a relationship with a sales associate. You have to establish a long purchase history of other stuff. We're talking scarves, shoes, home goods, spending enough to prove you're a loyal client. And only then, maybe, you might get the offer to buy a bag, which is brought out for you discreetly from a back room. It's a whole process. So this incredible, carefully engineered scarcity, that's what transformed a handbag into a legitimate alternative asset class. So let's actually look at the numbers behind the hype. So to get this, you have to understand a really cool economic idea. The Birkin is a textbook example of something called a Veblen good. Now, for most things, when the price goes up, demand goes down, right? But with a Veblen good, it's the opposite. The higher price actually makes it more desirable. The exclusivity is the product. And the results of this are just wild. A study by Bag Hunter looked at the period between 1980 and 2015 and found that the value of a Birkin went up by an average of 14.2% every single year. That's better than the S&P 500 and way, way better than gold over that same time frame. But here's the really crucial part. It's not just about the return, it's the stability. I mean, the stock market can give you incredible highs, sure, but it also has these devastating crashes. The value of a pristine Birkin, on the other hand, it has never, not once, gone down. Think about that. During the 2008 financial crisis, when everything else was tanking, the Birkin's value was steady, and in some cases even went up. It has basically zero negative volatility. This whole dynamic creates this massive chasm between the retail price and what it's actually worth on the open market. If you are one of the lucky few to get offered a Birkin at retail, you could literally walk out of that store, put it up for sale, and sell it for, on average, a 138% profit. That's instant equity just for being chosen. So the question is, how does Hermès pull this off? Well, it's not some new flashy marketing trick. It's a business philosophy that has been baked into the company for almost 200 years. Hermès started way back in 1837, making harnesses for royalty in Europe. Their entire focus from day one was on insane durability and craftsmanship. They even designed the ancestor to the Birkin, a big bag for carrying saddles, back in 1892. So this long-term thinking is key. The current system of scarcity that they perfected around 2010, it's just the modern version of a principle they've had forever. Their secret sauce really comes down to 4 main ingredients. First, they are obsessed with craft. One single artisan makes an entire bag by hand. Second, they purposely control the supply. They never chase demand. Third, they control their entire production line, from owning their own tanneries to running their own schools for artisans. And finally, they're still family-owned, which lets him ignore all that market pressure to just scale up and make more, which would dilute the brand. So what is a Birkin, really? Is it just an incredibly well-made handbag? A piece of functional art? Or has it become something else entirely? A tangible, wearable, and surprisingly stable place to put your money in an increasingly crazy world? The answer, it seems, is yeah, it's all of those things.